All right, welcome to this chapter on evenness. So you're probably going to be surprised to find out it's not actually about evenness, but you'll see in a sec. So let's get into it. Hierarchy. I feel like this is one of the most important sections in this tutorial. It excites me a lot, and so I'm going to give it the most attention. I feel like this chapter is going to spill into every chapter and principle taught in this course. This chapter actually focuses on how important it is to avoid evenness, and rather how hierarchy is key. Avoiding 50-50 proportions and using 70-30 is key. Difference is clarity. Hierarchy is the idea of having something more important than something else. We often try to simplify things into primary, secondary, tertiary, or big, medium, and small. More of this than that. Contrast. Hierarchy is present in nearly every area of our lives and in many ways. The same with proportion. You can see this especially in the idea of work-life balance, for example. How much time do I spend working versus relaxing? You've heard the phrase, too much of a good thing is a bad thing, right? These are just two small examples of how proportion plays a role in our daily lives. We see this in our systems of government and nearly every aspect of society and how we organize in the world and the information in it. The greater and the lesser, the bigger and the smaller. Just like the phrase, if everyone is special, no one's special, or too much of a good thing is a bad thing. In design, we have to use opposing ideas in uneven amounts to be very visually pleasing, dynamic, and clear. If we make everything complex, it'll look messy. If we make everything simple, it could look too boring. We have to find a balance between too much and too little, but have enough difference in things to make each element clear. You should never ask yourself, is it more busy than simple? We don't want an even proportion, so let's be clear. It should be clear. It's simple or it's complex. 70-30, 30-70, whatever. You can apply this rule to almost any design principle, and it's a guiding idea behind design. So we avoid evenness, proportions of 50-50, and to balance this out, we have different amounts of things in our design. So usually this is called 70-30, primary, secondary, big, medium, small, etc. Let me ask you a question about these two circles. Which of these is most important? You're probably not sure because they're exactly the same. But what about now? Alright, what about now? Which of these is most important? Your mind knows right away where to put its attention, but not because you chose to. Our minds do this automatically, and so we must design with this in mind. Even the way our minds work is hierarchical. Think about a mountain. If you asked a person to draw a mountain, he wouldn't necessarily need to think about all the things that make up a mountain. But we can visualize it without understanding the tectonics at work or what went into creating it, or the bugs and the animals that inhabit it, the rock, the trees, and the plants, but we know they're there. We can understand ideas at many levels, and this is called the hierarchy of ideas. We as humans organize the world mentally using the hierarchy of ideas, or else speech and ideas would be too much complex to convey quickly. We simplify and we organize. A common thing people refer to when talking about a similar topic like this is the rule of thirds. It's a more universally artistically accepted phrase, and if you study photography, you should be familiar with this. But personally, I don't like this phrase in the context of design. I think it's also a very abstract idea to implement based on how it has been presented, in my opinion. I prefer the term 70-30. I've had many people say to me, should I make my design 70-30, 80-20? Let's not get caught up in the numbers, but it means more of this than that, as I've said. Something is larger and something is smaller. Using 70-30 and hierarchy, these ideas are very hard to apply and contextualize right away. So I think that it's best if we go into Photoshop and we start breaking down some examples of not just how to use it, but how we can look for it in the world around us.